Now, our special guest this morning is more than visible to the naked eye. It's the fabulous Kavana. Welcome to the show. First time. Now, the big reunion star, he first made it in the 90s, of course, after being picked up by Take That's manager Nigel Martin-Smith. He enjoyed some monster hits, including I Can Make You Feel Good. He subsequently joined ITV2's Big Reunion this year and is now not a solo star, but part of this new supergroup, Fifth Story, alongside, if I remember, Adam Rickett, Dane Bowers, Gareth Gates and Kenzie from Blazing Squad.
Yeah.
Good to be back?
Great to be back, yeah. Second time around.
Yeah.
Enjoying it more this time.
Because you're not on your own?
Yes, I think because in the past, you know, when you're on your own, you don't really appreciate everything, you know? And I think being a little bit wiser and older, you've got kind of 4 other people to kind of enjoy the experience.
Every single person that's been on the Big Reunion has said the same thing.
Right.
It's better second time round.
Yeah.
Because you'd have thought, first time round, everything would be fun. Oh, look, famous people, everybody loves me. And you'd think that would be the buzz, but maybe too much pressure the first time round.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was like 16, 17 when I started. So I couldn't really go out, I couldn't do anything. I just was work, and then you're in a hotel room, you know, in the middle of Japan, like, what's this about, you know?
But also, I think you don't really, because I obviously did the Big Reunion with you, but you don't really realise how lucky you are the first time round. Everything's a bit of a hassle. And
Is that because you don't get time? Because I've been on the road with E17, Take That, and I can remember how hard they worked. You know, especially in those early stages when you're first making it, and that's what the fans, I don't think, fully appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, you did Asia as well, didn't you, Ben?
Yeah.
And Asia was they just work you, you know, like they give, because they don't get you there that much, do they? So it's like, you give you a schedule, 8 in the morning till 8 at night, and it's just nuts, you know.
And it's fair to say that after that, the sort of very late 90s, more the noughties really, weren't very kind to you at all, because you went off to America to try it for TV soaps, was it, or TV dramas?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just, you know, things kind of dried up in England, and I was lucky enough to have a lot of money, and I just thought, I'm just going to go to America, like you do.
Yeah.
And,
Hollywood!
Yeah, I mean, literally, I lived in Hollywood, lived in LA, lived the dream. And it's only so long you can stay somewhere and not work, you know, and the sunshine and stuff like that. So after a while, it kind of, the dream kind of finished. Get the violins out.
No.
Welcome back.
It's,
Probably saved your life there.
Well,
really.
Impossible, isn't it? And this is the really curious thing, because we had Adam Rickett here prior to being at the beginning of the week, and he has told me, and I know he's told you on the Big Reunion, if not beforehand, that he feels quite guilty because he feels that he has a sort of unwittingly had a part to play in your sort of pop decline.
Right, yeah. I mean, we did in the TV show. Obviously, they're like a story, you know.
Yeah.
Me and Adam, I had Take That's manager, and. I was kind of thinking of leaving him anyway, because I just, for whatever reason. And he said, I've signed this new guy, Adam Rickett. I was like, oh, right, so you don't care about me anymore. So I basically left him because of Adam Rickett. So when we met for the Big Reunion, it was quite awkward, to say the least. But we're cool now.
I mean, Adam, likewise, I think he feels quite guilty about it, really.
Yeah.
What about some questions from you guys? Ben, what have you got?
Yeah, well, I know from having spent time with you backstage of the Big Reunion stuff that your mum is in a care home, isn't she? So. Well,
I was watching the other day, you were discussing carers and stuff, and obviously, you know, you're not discussing it today, but it's interesting because when we were finding...
What is she? It's
Alzheimer's, yeah. It originally was dementia, but then obviously it goes to, you know, Alzheimer's. It's early stages, you know. But it's interesting when you go to a care home, because you don't make an appointment, you just turn up, because you have to see it as it is, you know, because at the end of the day, you're leaving your parent in somebody else's hands. Luckily, we found a perfect one, but it must when you see these stories about, you know, horror stories about not being looked after, and it must be really hard. You know?
Well, I think with both dementia and Alzheimer's, it's hard for everybody.
Yeah.
It's hard for people like yourself, the sons and daughters, the partners, the spouses. Does your mum still know who you are all the time?
Yeah, I mean, she does, yeah. I mean, she has moments of where she's very lucid, and then she can be literally sometimes, you know, who are you? And that's a tough one.
Unbelievably
It's
distressing.
really hard. And I made the mistake at first of, like, my dad passed away, and she'd say, like, you know, where's your dad? And I'd say, well, you know, he's dead. And you're not supposed to say that. you're supposed to kind of go along with.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I have to just go, oh, you know, he's away, he's working, and it's hard because you're kind of lying, you know, but that's just the way it is.
We have got to do Alzheimer's and dementia on the show.
Yeah.
We've got to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe we
So
can
it's
get it in next week. It makes it all the more remarkable that you managed to pull it together for the big gig, because here is Fifth Story with Kavana's best-known hit. Check this out.
And love can be such a challenge, a game where there can be two winners. Unlike endless sport, depends on the price, knowing where the real thing lies. To make a long story short, and those two words, hey, I can make you feel good, I can make you feel good, when we lay this good love on.
Looks all right. Still got it. Yeah, nice one.
Sorry, you're going off on tour in October. With,
Yes.
Yeah, we're going off together.
Thanks
Can
for
I
the
come
plug,
too?
Yasmin.
Yeah, you can come.
Can I come?
But yeah, we've got a big tour bus.
Look at that face.
Can you imagine? In my bucket list, this would be 2 toy boys on either side and one with a hairy chest.
Might be worth mentioning at this time that Kavana has come out as gay, by the way, Yasmin, just so you know.
Do I mind?
We'll go shopping, we'll go shopping.
You can hug, can't
Of
you?
course we can hug.
In fact, you came out on the big reunion, didn't you?
Oh, it was full of drama for me on that show, yeah.
You left it a long time.
Well, no, I mean, look, here's the deal. It wasn't like I wasn't out. It was just that I'd not done a TV show where I had to talk about it. You know, I've not been in the public eye.
So it wasn't that... It's just simply that you hadn't had the opportunity to tell
Yeah. And so, and it kept kind of, the issue kept, I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to say it. It was awkward telling the band, because it's like, when do you have the right moment to say it? Because I'm single, it wasn't, they just go, are you single? I'd be like, yeah. And then it just was awkward, and then in the end I just did it.
Awkward, but presumably not as awkward as having everybody think you're straight at the height of your fame.
Right, yeah. I mean, obviously I was very young then, and I didn't
Yeah.
really properly know, but yeah, it was quite a relief.
When did
even
you
though...
find out that you were gay?
When did I find out when I was gay?
But yeah, did you always know? No, but did you always know, or was it like
Some people come to it quite late
Yeah.
in life.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like-
you know, you always, you kind of know. But, thanks for that question.
I don't know. I was curious. I didn't know whether you'd sort of just stumbled upon it or.
Yeah. Let's move
anyway,
on from
move
that.
on.
Let's move on. Okay. Funny enough, we are going to be talking, as you're about to hear, about homosexuality for a very slightly different tack in just a moment. But this is the outline of our Friday show. First up, should at least one... Thank you most kindly. Welcome back to Friday show with Ben Adams, Yasmin Ali Brown, and the fabulous Kavana, who's going to bring you all the other headlines shortly. But first, we're asking if at least one of the much-anticipated so-called leaders' debates should go online. 0207 173 5555, our number again. The turnout in 2010 actually went up a little bit compared to previous elections, so it was minuscule, but it had some impact. But not with you, Kavana, because again, Screechy tells me you didn't vote. Is that right?
Listen, I hold my hands up. I kind of sit on the fence. I'm a bit like Ben, really, when it comes to this. Yeah, I'm not very clued up.
Do you consume TV traditionally through the TV set or through online broadcasts, or a bit of both?
I'd say, obviously, you know, the last few years, more kind of online. But, yeah, I mean, if it's there, it's on TV, it's easy. You don't have to look for it, you know.
So you think the fact that 2 out of 3 young people still consume their TV from TV rather than online...
I just don't think young people would go online to look for politics. They want to look at YouTube.
What if they could ask questions?
Yeah, but the questions would have to be, you know, questions that they want to answer, you know.
Well, that would make it interesting.
I've had a
wouldn't
look at some of when celebrities do Q&As online, and about 98% of the questions are unusable for broadcast. Shall we put it like that?
Yeah.
Yeah? They're fairly crude. So interactivity, it's a very noble ideal again.
Because even that's controlled. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. Has to be.
Yeah,
it has to
good
be.
point, actually. Good point.
Interesting. The panel seems to have a bit of a downer on the notion of an online debate, but what about you? Welcome back, Friday show with Ben Adams, Yasmin Ali Brown on the panel, and our special guest, the fabulous Kavana, ladies and gentlemen. Now, still to come this fine day, we are going to find out And it's a curious question. There's a new law. It's going to ban forced marriage. And the peculiar question is this new law going to do more harm than good? David Cameron backs the ban, but critics say the law will only further drive forced marriage underground. 0207 173 5555 is the number for your thoughts. We'll be talking to campaigner Jasvinder Sanghera as well. But right now, Kavana, it's over to you for the headlines.
Yes.
And where do we start?
First up, we've got the Daily Express. This just totally backfired. PM's aid puts boot into peace. Obviously, there's this terrible mining disaster.
Turkey, yeah.
So, in Turkey, obviously. And the Prime Minister goes along to his people, you know, goes to try and help, stuff like that. And one of his aides decides to kick a protester.
We've actually got, this is a grieving protester, presumably, so someone who may very well have lost a relative. And we actually have the footage, so it's a bit blurry, but what you've got is two of the military or the paramilitary holding down this grieving person.
Wow.
And then this political aid comes in and puts the boot in. It is absolutely unbelievable and possibly explains the riots we were watching on TV yesterday. The gap between the people. It was 80. Oh, God.
I mean, I don't know what happened after that. I mean, did he just go away, or?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just being broadcast around the world.
Terrible.
And Erdogan, the Prime Minister, looks genuinely surprised. I think it's
Surprised
fair
and
to say
horrified,
by the. Well, I think it's more a case he doesn't know how to deal with the anger.
No.
And I'm not surprised because he's viewed as partially responsible.
His comment when it all happened was, oh, you know, these things happen. It happened in Victorian Britain.
That's right.
It happened in Victorian Britain, therefore it can happen now in Turkey. I mean, you know, he's a really...
In Victorian Britain, when we cared less about workers' rights and health and safety than we do today.
Exactly.
Yeah. OK.
OK, so next up we've got The Times, page 8. This is an interesting one. The richest 10% own almost half the nation's wealth. So basically 10% of Britain's population owns half of the country's wealth with holdings of property, possessions, savings and cash.
They're also saying that 1 in 5 graduates is now worth, on paper at least, £1 million. 1 in 5 graduates. Not me, says Screechy in her ear.
So basically 5 rich families have the same wealth as 12 million people.
Is that right? The 5 richest?
Yeah. 12 million people.
To be fair, I don't think the richest 10% owning more than half the nation's wealth is a substantial change from how it's been over the last 10, 20, 30 years.
Oh, no, it wasn't this bad.
Was it not as bad as this?
It wasn't this bad. It wasn't this. We are now in a very distorted world.
And the rich-poor divide grew wider under 30 years of Labour as well.
Yes, but it's also the multiples, so that, you know, the percentages of those who were middle class and those who were very rich was nothing like as grotesque as it is now.
Although the middle class is being squeezed down, isn't it? So it's a super rich elite,
but
and
this is
everybody
astonishing. This is an astonishing figure. God.
What are they doing?
Why don't we have a revolution? Revolution!
We don't have a revolution, presumably, because we're quite happy playing on our gaming machines, watching our TV, necking down cheap booze from the supermarket.
You know, we should just say, not paying taxes, we're not doing what we are supposed to do until this changes.
But then one of the arguments about taxes, that, I mean, it's a theory that if you reduce the tax rate to something like 30,
No, as a protest, we all say...
We just don't pay.
We all say, not paying taxes until this gets sorted. What will they do? They can't put us all in prison, can they?
Let me put my Tory cap on. Let me put my Tory cap on. What you don't understand, Yasmin, is these people have worked really hard. You know, they work really hard, and they employ loads of people. And it's not just inherited wealth like the Duke of Westminster owns half of London. It's not like that at all. You know, they deserve it. They deserve it.
The Hinduchas really deserve it. Yes.
Anyway, on a bit of a lighter note, the Daily Mail, pupils are using text smileys in exams.
Because they can't write proper words.
But I guess they're just so used to doing LOL, smiley face, so now they're actually doing it in their exam papers.
Sorry, what, after an answer? If they think they've got it right?
Third, as an answer, or within the answer.
As a yes or
a third of teachers have seen emoticons in exam replies, answers.
Wow. That's shocking, isn't it?
Age.
And handwriting is getting messier as well.
Yeah.
I'll be honest though, I tried to write a birthday card the other day, and it's been years since I've written anything that wasn't on a computer, and it looked terrible.
I know, same thing.
I'd
same thing.
regress back to sort of being 4.
I can't even read my own handwriting back. I mean, it's ridiculous, ridiculous. I should do a downward smiley face for that, shouldn't I?
You should.
And then we've got in the Sun, shop girl suspended for calling John Terry a pig.
Front page news on the Sun.
A clothes shop assistant has been suspended after calling him a pig. She basically whispered to a colleague, because obviously he cheated and she knew about that. So she just said, I like him, but I fancy him, but I think he's a pig.
So she didn't shout it at him?
No, he overheard it.
OK.
But she's been fired.
Because some of the team...
Suspended,
some of the Wright Stuff team are saying it was very unfair that she should be suspended. And then my response was, because she did apologise at the time.
She did apologise.
But my line is that the customer is always right. So if the customer is unhappy, and John Terry and his missus were unhappy, action has to be taken, I guess.
Yep.
You don't think so, Yasmin?
No.
You think it's...
And if he had any decency,
So it's good business. It's good business
he
for
should
staff.
get a job back.
It's
for
good
her.
business for staff to go around abusing their customers.
No, but she didn't. She didn't say it. She
called him a pig.
No, she whispered to a friend. How many times have we whispered things, even while working?
Never.
It can't have been a whisper,
though. Rubbish.
So you think he should get a job back?
Yeah.
Do you know what? It would be a great PR move for him if he
Wouldn't
did.
it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or went out with her. That's a joke, by the way.
And then in the Mirror on page 7, Bear's TV survival show is not all it's cropped up to be. This is Bear's Grylls on his new show, which is supposedly full of normal people, or somewhat
Normal men.
Normal men on this, I don't know, is it on a desert island or something, a castaway?
Yeah.
But they've found out that 3 of the people are actually...
Four of them are from TV.
Have worked on the production.
I actually know 2 of them personally. The guy on the left is Kif McManus, who's related to someone I was at school with.
But, I mean...
Works on Top Gear. It says he's worked in some of the most dangerous places on Earth, the paper says.
Yeah.
He worked with Jeremy Clarkson on Top Gear. You know, I'm not sure. I mean...
But apparently there was something about one of his other shows as well, where he was supposed to be on this, again, somewhere, and he was going
I think Surviving in the Arctic was
and
in the Holiday Inn.
Going to the Holiday Inn, yeah. So...
I get... I mean...
Reputation.
It's TV, isn't it? And I don't know. I mean... Is it a complete scam or not? I mean, these people are still... They'll still be starved. They still have to find and kill the caimans and eat them. They're still doing all the stuff. And I think if people think it really is just random people sent to a desert island and left to starve...
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's
Well, the cameramen have to eat, so that, you know, they've got to... All these things have to be set up to it. It's
Absolutely.
like anything.
It's structured
X Factor,
reality.
anything. It's not the way you see it on TV, is it?
No.
You know?
No,
I just feel very sorry for the animals. Look at this guy throttling a crocodile. I mean, leave them alone.
Welcome back. Last bit, well, not quite the last bit, nearly the last bit of the last Wright Stuff of the week with me, Matthew Wright, Ben Adams, Yasmin Ali Brown and Kavana, like I'm going to get it right in a minute, are all still with us. In a moment, we're going to find out if pensioners have a problem with gay people as they grew up when homosexuality was still a crime. Let's talk about pensioners and their problems, shall we? Do pensioners have a specific problem with gay people? 0207 173 5555, the number again. UKIP's Nigel Farage reckons most pensioners do. He spoke out in defence of his 70-year-old Newark by-election candidate Robert Heimer, who once claimed being gay was abnormal and undesirable.
Roger Helmer is fighting this by-election for us. He's somebody of 70 years of age who grew up with a strong Christian Bible background. He grew up in an age when homosexuality was actually imprisonable, and he had a certain set of views which he maintained for many years, which he now says he accepts, the world's moved on, and he's relaxed. If we asked the 70s and over in this country how they felt about it, most of them still feel uncomfortable.
Well, we're going to do that now. If you're 70 plus, give us a call and let us know. In the meantime, I can tell you that Helmer, well, he may have changed his views since, but a poll by the Telegraph Online, you were asking about it earlier, Kavana, suggests 77% of their readers are with Farage on this. Now, statistically, anyone 70 plus would have been 23 or older when homosexuality was decriminalised in 1967. So they will have spent their formative years being taught it was illegal. If you believe psychologists, well, many of them say that our beliefs are virtually fixed by our late teens, then perhaps Farage's claims hold water. But equally, pensioners have had nearly half a century, 46 years, to get used to the change that's seen homosexuality legalised. Indeed, many pensioners would have joined gay pride marches, early gay pride marches. The baby boomer generation banged on about peace and love in the 60s and the early 70s, and they led campaigns against everything from, I don't know, inequality to nuclear bombs. Scientists reckon it's not that older people are more homophobic than young people, but they do say that changes in the brain make it harder for them to conceal innate prejudice, if you like. Kavana, you were quite alarmed by the Telegraph poll, weren't you?
But well, first of all, it is the Telegraph.
So it's fairly reactionary.
Yeah. I don't know, you know, I mean...
It's a sweeping generalisation to say most 70-year-olds feel uncomfortable being
you know
around
what?
gay people.
I think the word uncomfortable is because I just don't think that maybe they would want it to be pushed in their faces. They don't want to... I don't think that they're against it. I just think it's something that they don't quite understand. I mean, I've met a lot of pensioners because my mum's in a care home and, you know, and I've never... I just don't get... I don't really see that personally, but that's not because...
I think it's quite interesting because I know quite a lot of pensioners as well, and I also don't see it personally.
Well, he seems quite angry man anyway. I mean, you know, why is he so feeling so strongly about it? Has he got issues?
Well, because
himself?
he has, unfortunately, a range of candidates who have, you know, I mean, the papers have been full of a variety of fairly outrageous views, although Helmer, to be fair, did retract his sort of views that, you know, homosexuality was abhorrent and wrong. Yasmin, do you believe that most 70-year-olds feel uncomfortable around gay people?
Well, I don't.
You're not 70 yet.
Well, I could be.
Ages yet.
I could be. But I think it's... there's been so much change. The Tory party, one of my closest friends is a Tory, believe it or not. And he stood...
Murmurings in the audience. No.
And he stood. He was the first gay, declared gay to try and get a seat. This is about 8 years ago. And he didn't get anywhere, OK? Since then, and we were just talking about it last week, he said, even that party, even those people, you know, in these funny places like Surrey,
Hey.
Are accepting the change, and that if he was standing now, it would be very different.
Yeah.
People are changing. The Telegraph you're right, Kavana. It is the Telegraph is not.
Well, in as much as it's quite reactionary, so...
I think it's unfair to say just because you hit a certain age, you know...
But do you think Farage was wrong to say that, you know...
Yeah, of course he was. But then he's wrong on everything.
OK. Ben, do you think sweeping generalisation like that, he was bound to end up being criticised?
Well, if you generalise on any subjects, you're always going to sort of lots of different opinions on whether it's true or not. It's hard for me to comment, not really knowing a lot of over 70s. But, you know, I mean, they're not actively going against gay people, are they? So... there's not like they're not sort of revolting. Come on, let's get rid of them. You know, they're just sort of making. You know, as Kavana said, they don't really mind either way as long as it's not sort of pushed in their face. Really.
Mind you, you know, you had these cases, didn't you? A number of cases where those who owned bed and breakfasts, for example. Christian older people would not let
they wouldn't let in.
And there have been some
there you have
indications.
deeply held religious views and then the inbuilt conflict between society and church, and I still think it's their right to have an opinion. They're
Absolutely.
just not allowed to discriminate by law.
And that might not be down to their age, it might just be down to their
beliefs. As I said, that's not for us to cast aspersions there, but it will be fascinating to hear from you, because I can't help but think about all the older gay people out there. I mean, Ian McKellen, you know, he's well over 70, gay. Derek Jacobi, I mean, that's the two stars of issues, over 70, gay. I wonder what they feel like being told that their type is uncomfortable with their type. It's bizarre. Kirsty.
We have Audrey on line 1.
Morning, Audrey.
Hello.
Hello. Are you an older person, Audrey?
Yes, and I'm not having an elderly moment.
Can I ask how old you are, Audrey?
78.
78. And do you have a problem around gay people?
No, I love being around them. Well, I would be if I got the chance.
Have you ever thought about going to a gay club?
I'm happily married to a man.
Right, but yeah, you never thought about going to a gay club?
I've been to a gay bar.
Okay, okay.
Croydon.
Okay, excellent, great place. Now, so tell me, as a woman of 78 youthful years behind her, how do you feel about a politician generalising about pensioners, people 70 plus, and their views?
I find it very strange, actually. I would say yes, there are, but any age group, there's homophobic people, isn't there?
Do you think amongst the people you know, your peers, that most are comfortable or most are uncomfortable with that?
I think it's more likely to be the men than the women.
The older men have a problem, more of a problem.
Overall, I think, yes.
I think you're probably right. Amongst all age groups, I think you're possibly right there, yes.
Yeah.
Although, interestingly, I know quite a few younger women who find the notion of lesbianism harder to deal with, so maybe it's...
Well, can I tell you something? One of my closest friends is a lesbian.
Right.
A neighbour who, when I was taken poorly, was the first one to rush out to see if she could help. No one else where I live is gay, as far as I know, and she was the only one that was there to help.
Yeah.
And has now become a very good friend.
It's a good job you're not. It's a good job you're not about 50 years older in Queen Victoria's time, because of course then lesbians didn't exist, so no one would have been able to come to help you, Audrey. Thank you. Thank you very much for the call. It's true. She refused to believe, didn't she, that sapphic love existed. Audrey, lovely call. Let's have another.
We have Thomas on line 2.
Morning, Thomas.
Oh, good morning, sir.
And now, you don't sound... how old are you, Thomas?
24.
24, OK. So, what do you know about elderly people and homosexuality, then?
Well, I'm a homosexual.
Right.
I'm homosexual. I've been homosexual since, obviously, birth, because it's natural to people.
Yeah.
And, well, obviously, I had to explain to my grandparents at some point, and to be honest, I think at the beginning they were pretty shocked.
Yeah.
As you can understand, obviously. Because they grew up in a different world, if you see what I mean. Where there's less competition and, you know, more freer society. Well, different freedoms in society, more personal liberties.
Yeah, absolutely. But did they change from the initial shock?
Well, yes, they did, yeah. They did change, because we sort of explained to each other why we'd got to the situation we were at. I'm a UKIP supporter, so, you know, they can relate to me. They can see that, you know, it's not about gays and homosexuals that we're talking about here. We're talking about getting out of Europe.
Yeah.
It's the main important thing for the country.
So let's get this right.
Take control of itself.
You're a gay UKIP supporter?
Yeah, 24 years old, gay UKIP supporter, yeah. I used to be a Green Party supporter, but I realised that their policies are pretty, you know, they're not really
I have to be mindful of the fact that, you know, we've got the European elections around the corner, so we have to be careful about what we say about the different parties. But I do find that... So you don't have any problem supporting a party which have made, I mean, various members of which have made sort of fairly damning pronouncements about the gay community?
Well, yes, I mean, I've had to explore my own sexuality, and I actually did that with the help of my grandparents, who, you know, they've understood that I grew up in a world that's different from theirs. There's a lot more competition, a lot more different popular media outlets for what's acceptable as like a sexual partner these days and things like that for women.
Yeah.
And so they sort of took me through all of that, and it's, you know, very fashionable to be certain ethnicities or certain different people like that, and it's sort of almost a fashion for, you know, prescribed to us by the media and things like that, that, you know, it's okay if you're, you know, of a certain demographic to be homosexual, and, you know, I've embraced that, they've embraced that with me, they've accepted that.
Okay.
You know,
well, I can say
they've got their own children. There's no need for me to be, you know, breeding the next line of people through there.
Thomas, welcome to my world, and I'm straight. I mean, it's a fascinating call. I mean, there's some curious contradictions in the stuff that you say, but it's a free country and you can say what you like, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, fascinating. And with that, I'm afraid we have to say goodbye to the panel. Yeah. Kevin's TV review still to come, so we're not done completely. But first of all, Kavana, I have to say, it's been absolutely lovely meeting you. And I really enjoyed your big reunion stuff. And I won't forget the boy band tour, which kicks off, if I remember right, 17th of October in Sheffield.
You know better than me.
Where you will be with the charming Ben Adams. It's been an absolute joy spending a couple of days with you.
Thank you for having me.
The girls are going crazy for you. Quite frankly, the boys are going crazy for you too.
Yeah.
Everyone's going crazy for you. And Yasmin, love you forever. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for a wonderful Kevin. After the ads, it's Kevin on Emmerdale's double wedding drama, Fisticuffs in EastEnders, and Channel 5's Bangkok Brits. Will he rate him or slate him? That's what we'll find out next.